Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Mickle. We begin with the extreme heat, with nearly half the states in the U.S. under advisories or warnings. And the heat wave is believed to have killed a man in southern Illinois. He was found unconscious Sunday with a 104-degree body temperature in his Granite City home. That home did not have any air conditioning. Not everyone can afford to use their air conditioning. That's where a federal energy program comes in to help. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, offers funding assistance to help people pay their cooling bills. Here you see people lined up to apply for help in Little Rock, Arkansas. A power company spokesman says the program is a huge relief to many people.
One of the things that's being considered to cut back on is LIHEAP. And if that should take place here in the state of Arkansas, roughly 6,000 to 4,000 customers would not receive benefits that in the past that have received benefits.
The city has also set up special cooling centers for people who can't afford or don't have air conditioning. It's also extremely hot in North Carolina, where people are suffering through triple-digit heat. Anthony Wilson takes a look at how people there are staying safe.
It's brutally hot outside today, so bad that Emily Evans gave it a number to measure her discomfort.
Judging by the way I'm sweating, it was 8 out of a scale of 10. It's pretty hot.
Might get 10 by tomorrow. You ready for that?
Probably stay inside. Yes.
That's a wise plan, especially if you want to avoid a visit to the emergency room, where
we will strip them down. We'll get them cooled off, get cooling ice packs in under their arms and in their groin. We'll get them with a moist fan blowing on them.
That's for extreme cases of heat distress. But you put yourself at risk with any activity, including lawn work, in the midday heat. Even EMS workers know they need to be aware of potential heat problems while helping others.
We stay air conditioned as much as we possibly can. Our trucks are air conditioned, thank God.
Doctors tell us it's best to limit outdoor physical activity when temperatures climb toward the triple-digit mark, even if you think you're in good shape, because
it can be very serious, and you can do long-term permanent damage neurologically. Your brain cannot function at temperature extremes, and so if you get too hot, you can start having problems and you can have long-term damage.
Forecasters say things could cool down over the next few days in much of the country as a cold front moves through, but it will heat back up again by the weekend. Now on to storms and the danger they cause. This story is sad. A father in western Michigan was killed just after bringing his family to safety. The 38-year-old man, his wife, and 6 children had been in the garage when the storm hit in Cutlerville. He was able to move his wife and kids into the home safely, but was killed when a tree was uprooted and pushed the garage into him. Check out the severe storm that hit Rockford, Illinois yesterday, leaving thousands of people without power. Crews worked all day to restore electricity and clear the roads of debris after this thunderstorm swept through the northern part of the state. Wind gusts reached up to 80 miles per hour, knocking down power lines and light poles. Now we continue our coverage of the flooding along the Missouri River. Red Cross volunteers were in Council Bluffs, Iowa, dealing with long hours, heat, and other tough conditions during this flood disaster as they continue to provide support, set up shelters, and help flood victims. Megan McRoberts from our affiliate KPTM explains what keeps these volunteers going every day.
A lot of long days and long hours, not a lot of sleep, and it's hot, it's dirty. I mean, it's the dirtiest, most stressful job that you don't get paid for most days.
For Red Cross volunteers, this flood disaster has been one of the longer jobs of this storm season.
These volunteers, they want to be out, they want to go 24 hours a day, so it's really hard in these slower disasters for people to slow down.
And the slow pace can also be draining.
So just trying to keep everyone pacing themselves throughout this whole summer storm season.
You're constantly waiting for the alarm to go off, so to speak. So it's never out of your mind, and you're never away from your phone, and you're always ready to wait, hear the phone ring at 3 a.m. So, a little bit of that type. You don't relax, let's put it that way, a lot.
McSweeney has been volunteering in Omaha for over a month, away from his Kansas City home.
I'm a retiree, I have plenty of time, so fine, I'm here.
Even younger local volunteers say it's a tough but important job.
It is somewhat tiring, but you just have to work through it. I worked a 20-hour day last week. You just do what you have to with the focus that you're helping a lot of people.
Somebody's got to step up and do it. So I think a lot of us say, well, that can be me.
Volunteers say they hope to stay ahead of the flood, to always be ready for the worst of the disaster. Megan McRoberts reporting for INN News.
Red Cross volunteers say they will be at every sandbagging event every day in Council Bluffs, Iowa, as long as they're needed. Well, history was made today. The last spacewalk of the Space Shuttle era happened. 2 American crew members of the International Space Station recovered a broken pump. They also conducted a couple of experiments. By the way, Shuttle Atlantis mission has been extended by a day. It will now land at Kennedy Space Center on July 21st. The additional day will allow the crew to unpack more items and move them to the ISS. On to Your Vote 2012 now, and a new twist in the battle for the Republican presidential nomination. Republican candidate Michelle Bachmann is facing scrutiny over the Christian Health Center she owns with her husband. New video shows staff there apparently trying to turn a gay person straight. It was recorded by a member of a gay advocacy group. He was told treatment involves turning to the Bible and prayer. This kind of conversion is something the Bachmanns have denied. Bachmann is refusing to talk about the recording.
Well, I'm here to talk about my run for the presidency of the United States. As I said again, we're very proud of our business, and we're proud of all job creators in the United States.
By the way, Congresswoman Bachmann has taken the lead in Iowa. Time for Global News Now. At least 44 schoolboys are dead after the bus carrying them plunged into a ditch full of water. They were returning to school after watching a football tournament. The crash still under investigation. The half-brother of Afghan President Hamid Karzai was shot dead at his home in Kandahar. He was killed during a gathering by a guard. A motive is not known. WikiLeaks editor-in-chief Julian Assange has begun his appeal against extradition to Sweden to face questioning on sex charges. Assange denies the accusations and says they are an attempt to smear him. The case is not related to Assange's website. WikiLeaks made headlines last year for leaking documents and videos related to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Soccer legend Diego Maradona is doing okay after getting into a car accident yesterday. The vehicle he was traveling in collided with a bus on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. Neither Maradona nor his girlfriend had any serious injuries. They were taken to a hospital, however. Maradona is a former player for Argentina, and many say he is one of the game's greatest. And that's your Global News Now. We take you to North Central Florida now, where police are investigating yet another teen murder plot. Police in Marion County arrested Christopher Ruggiero and Paul Malnasi over the weekend. Police say the 16-year-olds plan to kidnap, gag, and beat a 9th grader and dispose of his body parts in Miami. They say the plot was uncovered when Ruggiero asked the other boy to help him kill the boy in a live chat on his Xbox. A witness saw the conversation and called police. This case is eerily similar to the killing of 15-year-old Seth Jackson back in March, also in Marion County. 5 teens were accused of luring him to a home, shooting and killing him, burning his remains, and stuffing them into paint cans. George Solis from our Gainesville affiliate GTN has reaction from a community that's shocked once again.
It's ridiculous, man. I don't know what these kids are thinking these days.
It's a story that sounds all too familiar for Summerfield resident Randall Moriarty. Teens conspiring to kill another. Moriarty was a close friend of Seth Jackson, the Summerfield 15-year-old who police say was murdered by 5 teens.
Stupidity. I don't understand what they see in it. What do they do? Whether they think it's cool? Do they think it's cool to be a killer?
2 16-year-olds, Chris Ruggiero and Paul Malnasi, are charged with plotting another teen's murder. Residents say it's not something they expected from the boy who lived right up the street.
I think he might have just got caught up with the wrong people. He really didn't seem like, it wasn't a hoodlum of the neighborhood.
We tried to talk to the parents at Ruggiero's home.
Just minutes ago, we saw this car pull into the driveway of this home, where we will now see if anyone will answer. Hello, GTN News.
No answer, so we called.
No answer.
At the other suspect's house, we spoke to his mother.
After a brief discussion with Paul Malnasi's mother, they've decided to speak to their attorney before addressing the media.
One neighbor had this to say about 16-year-old Malnasi.
He was always a nice kid. He just seemed a little out there, I guess.
Authorities aren't clear how 2 boys from the opposite sides of town met. Investigators do know they played the Xbox together, a live online game system where strangers can become friends. Investigators don't know if the kids knew Seth Jackson, but say the pair did want to avoid getting caught.
At one point, they said, we got to do this, take these steps so that we don't get caught like those guys did in that Seth Jackson case.
Seth's friend can't imagine this happening to anyone else.
Put yourself in this kid's shoes. Put yourself in this kid's shoes, all right? There's 2 or 3 people or whatever plotting to kill you. You know, what are you going to do?
Authorities aren't saying much about the targeted 9th grader whose life was spared by a gamer who wanted no part in murder. George Solis reporting for INN News.
The teens accused do not have any prior arrests. Their next court date is July 22nd. Well, it almost happened again. A fan in the stands trying to catch a ball nearly falls during the home run derby in Phoenix. Keith Carmichael climbed up on a narrow table, leaned forward, and lost his balance. Had it not been for the quick reactions of his brother and a friend, he might have suffered the same fate as Shannon Stone. 39-year-old Stone fell to his death while trying to catch a fly ball at Ranger Stadium last week in front of his 6-year-old son. The firefighter's funeral was held yesterday in Texas. The Texas Rangers set up an account accepting donations in Stone's honor to help his family. Well, up next, what could make a lot more dough for the company that owns Dunkin' Donuts? And baby boomers are looking for love and going online to find it. How many seniors are trying to hook up this way? And more of you are going high-tech with your phones. These stories and more coming up next.